guess I'll go ahead and explain. Yeah, I've been working on this issue, this transition. Originally, I asked for a bill that was pretty wide in scope, and the next morning I had half a dozen people looking for me. And you know you've kind of hit a nerve when you have people in your office when you get back from a meeting. And it's like, oh, we have an extra meeting. And Majority Leader, I have one meeting after another, and fitting in a new meeting that wasn't scheduled is always interesting. But we looked at what we need to do, what changes that we can make to accommodate people who have commercial vehicles. And in essence, the person that we think of as being a commercial, someone that drives for a living, that's somebody that has a CDL that drives 40 hours a week, not necessarily the guys that work for Pat that go to a job site, do some sort of work through the day, and go back to the shop, may only drive 5 miles. And so anyway, we have 3 components in this bill that I'm looking at. One would change the definition of tools of trade and the scope of how far that exemption applies. Those are 2 parts. The third part, we're looking at making a 2-tier system so that there isn't increase for the fee isn't actually a lower rate to commercial truck companies and drivers and businesses, but that helps us, the agreement helps us capture money from out of state also. So it's a pretty complex law, but to bring in a second tier for older vehicles that would pay a lower rate so that there's a fairness, so that if you have a 10-year-old truck that's maybe a less expensive truck, you're not paying the same fee as someone that has a brand new 18-wheel, top-of-the-line truck. So anyway, on the tech issues, we've struggled with those for years. We're here 2 years ago. We changed our chief information officer. We're working on getting ahead of that and not making the mistakes we've made in the past. I would compliment our treasurer, Gayla Shields, has worked extremely hard. I know she's been there late at night, day after day, making this work, and compliment her dedication and what she does for us. But hopefully we've turned the corner on this. As I've spoke to her, I think that system's working better, but we don't want to make the same mistakes going forward. So hopefully we're fixing the way our structure is, how we make these contracts.
We had a couple in regards to agriculture, and I'll start with one. Farming is a noble industry, and in particular it's close to my heart. And Mr. Morgan is here, and it is FFA week, so I'm just going to say that because I love FFA too. But what's being done at the state level to help agriculture in the state, particularly the small family farm?
Agriculture is close to my heart too. I was raised, my mom and dad had a small processing plant. My husband now, 5th generation ranch. So we've seen, some different ends. We got a few crops, but some of the things going on at the state to help the small family farm was last year we had a bill on corporate farming. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not. I fought very hard against that bill. What it would have done was statewide, it would have opened up that any international or any large corporation could have come in within a 3-mile radius of a city and set up an operation. We're talking large animal operations, 10, 15,000 head operations, international, China. An example would be Smithville Farms, if you're familiar with that. It was the largest hog operator in United States, just got bought out this summer by a Chinese corporation. Well, that corporation now has a presence in 26 states in the United States. So again, I fought very hard. So what I did was, instead of saying no corporate farming in Kansas, no international corporate farming, I thought that should be a local decision. That should be up to the counties to decide whether they want it to come in or not. So I had made an amendment on the bill on the Senate side that would, I'd presented an amendment, I should say, that would have